I had my father be the one to kind of be the mediator between me and my mother. Okay, so he handled her coming in, dealt with, ushering her to Junior. I stayed secluded with Charlotte in another part of the house because I really don't want to have any interaction with her. She went through security, all of that. Everything was fine. The meeting itself, because I can see on my cameras, the meeting, the visitation with Junior went fine. Junior took to her nicely, although I think he mistakes her for his other grandma, but it is what it is. So everything with that was good. And then my sister came over, and voices were raised. A fight happened between them in the room. This is when I started to walk over because, Junior's, again, right there. I don't want that type of conflict around him. So I'm taking Charlotte with me, and as I walk into the room, they're still yelling, and she drops a curse word directed at me. And then I asked them all to leave. Wow. Okay. Something told me that something was going to happen like this. Did everyone leave without issue? You didn't have to call your security on them or anything like that? Everyone left? Yes. Everyone left without an issue. And I did get text messages and voicemails from my mother apologizing. I didn't get anything from my sister. And I got stuff from my dad as well, but I have not been in contact with any of them since. Okay, so much like the police would do if there's a big theft at a department store, they would want to see the footage and stuff like that. Would you mind giving us the footage to review? So you guys want to review it or something? Yeah, so like I had explained early on in this whole endeavor that we're going through, the agency wants to make sure that we're doing the most thorough work possible and that everything is super fair between everyone and our cases aren't controversial or lacking in discipline or oversight. We just want to make sure every stone is unturned. So we just want to review it, make sure that what you're saying is accurate, make sure that we can base a judgment off of facts and not just oh, he said, she said type thing, even though I know you wouldn't lie about something like this. Yeah, that's fine. It's just one of those situations where I have to prove my case that this instance happened. This is her first visit and there are problems already, and I really don't want to deal with this moving forward. We have to do an investigation. It's the only thing that's fair to your mother, right? Look at it this way. Hypothetically, and I'm not saying this is what happened, but hypothetically you misheard her. Or hypothetically she wasn't talking about you, or whatever the case may be. Okay, maybe she didn't curse. If she did, it was wrong. You shouldn't do that in the house, this and that. But we owe it to her to hear her side of the story, to review the footage and not just take your word on things. Okay. I'm not trying to be a diva about things, but when you drop a curse word like that, or when you fight in my house, there should be a zero tolerance policy when it comes to disagreement and stuff like that. This needs to be moved to a different setting, because I don't want that in my house. I don't want my son around it, to be honest. Let me ask you this also. From your perspective on things, right? How you saw it and what you reviewed, everything that you just told me, do you think that maybe your sister was the one that instigated all of this, and maybe if she hadn't been involved in the situation, your mother wouldn't have acted, or that argument wouldn't have occurred? I guess I can say that she instigated it for sure. I don't think there would have been a fight if she hadn't arrived. But that doesn't take away from the fact that my mom was the one that called me the B word in front of my son. And I think that's the part that's truly unacceptable to me. She's in my house and throwing curses at me on camera. Like, it's on camera. You can see it. I don't know why there's not more urgency on your end. It's about due process. We want these agencies to be efficient, so that if something like this happens in the future, you and other people in the world will not say, oh, they're corrupt. Oh, they didn't do it right. Oh, they missed this. Serafina town is a very different town with different laws and a very different jurisdiction from many other places. But that doesn't mean that we have to be sloppy. Fairness should be our top priority. Due process should be our top priority. Even if your mom is full of it, we have to still check. Okay, well, if you want due process, I mean, you can look at the camera right now and you can see the footage. Okay, I didn't want to have to do this, but I have to do this. You did break a rule early on by restricting your mother from seeing Junior. So you already have this silent strike against you that we overlooked. So now your mom said a curse word, she raised her voice, there was a little, let me not say little, there was a fight that I have to see whether it was little or big, right? So it's kind of like tit for tat here. You get it? Alright, fine. But, can we not have any more visits until you conclude this investigation? Because, I don't think it's right that she cursed in my house, this and that. I want you guys to see it first. Yeah, until we can do this investigation, clear things up, the agreement's on pause. So, no visitations, and that includes your mother-in-law as well. Sorry I'm late. I brought Junior goldfish. I stopped off on the way because I didn't realize he loved them so much. I heard they're not too good for Mill. Yes, what's up? So there was an incident yesterday. My mom had her visit for the first time. It went fine at first. And then my sister came over and they started to get into it, right? And I walked in and my mom called me the B word. And I kicked everyone out. I told family court this. And they want to investigate and interview everyone and determine how to move forward with that. But the agreement has been paused, and since you're part of the agreement, they don't want any visits from anyone at the current moment. I didn't do anything. I wasn't even present for any of that. I had nothing to do with any of this conflict. I've been minding my business, not getting involved. So how am I now restricted? Like I said, because they paused the agreement, and you're included in it, they instructed that no party involved can move forward with anything until they figure things out. Okay, but that's not fair to me. Why? When they told you, we're gonna pause the agreement and your former mother-in-law is not allowed over either, you couldn't have said something? Like, that's not fair? And why can't they just pause Kristen's side of the agreement? I'm sorry, it's as they worded it, it's as a whole, the agreement as a whole. So, I guess they're not, you know, customizing things for people. They just, I don't know. So now, once again, just like when Joey was just like when he who shall not be named was around, and I would suffer the consequences of his actions, I am once again now suffering the consequences of someone else's actions. That's completely out of my control. I have done everything right, and I have been there for Junior, and I have helped you, and I've done nothing wrong, and now this is what I get. Mel, it's not up to me. Like, if it were up to me, you'd be here. I'm sorry. And, you know, I don't even think you needed to be included in the agreement, you and I mean, it's nice you have safeguards for yourself, and they're backfiring right now in a way, but, you know, they included both of you. And maybe you should have fought that. I don't know, but it's only temporary. This isn't forever. Yeah, and when you say only temporary, what does that even mean? How long are they going to take to investigate something like this when they're overloaded with cases? They drag their feet on everything. I mean, they're better. The hearing was short. And this time around for this investigation, it's not like there's a countdown and it's 10 days away or anything. They could be done tomorrow. They just have to review camera footage and talk to my mom. I'll leave his goldfish here. I also got Charlotte those dissolving puffs. If you want to give those to her too. I'm gonna get going now. So, I think you and I are on the same page with things. I think we know where each other are coming from. I don't want to fight anymore, you know? I'm happy with you, Cassandra. And, I think I know what to do to avoid conflict with you. And I think a lot of it falls on me. So, we have the rest of the day. I'm off from work. You're home. What do you want to do today? Let's do some like relationship stuff. Let's do something different together. Yeah, so I'm gonna be seeing my family today. Oh, well that's nice. That's cool. That's fun. Yeah, I haven't seen them in a bit. I like to I don't know, take a break from them, decompress, build myself back up before I go see them and fall back into their norms, I guess. Not like in a toxic way, it's just they have their culture and their salad forks and stuff. So, but it'll be fun. Okay. You know, Cassandra, I haven't met your family yet. At all. Not your dad, not your mom. Not your cousins, your uncles, you. Yeah, I know. I'm trying here. But you're making me sound weird. When am I gonna meet them? You know, I don't know your best friend now. Now I can't even meet your family. You met my family. Is there something about me? Brian, it's not me. It's just they really don't want to meet you. So why push it? You know, if they don't want it, then I'm not gonna. I'd rather not deal with toxic. Not that they're toxic, but if they don't want to meet you, it is what it is. I'm not gonna be butthurt by that. They don't want to meet me. I mean, I guess in the grand scheme of things, with how a lot of people in my life, how they've interacted with their in-laws, maybe I'm blessed in that way, but I don't see it that way. I love you. And it would be nice to meet your family. Is there a reason why they don't want to meet me? My family is very wealthy. They're very, they're not, I don't know how to explain it. It's not that they're bad people. They're not bad people. They're just very stuck in their ways. They just have these traditions, and you don't fit into them. They expected me to marry another millionaire or maybe even a billionaire. They expected me to take over the business and dress a certain way and not dye my hair. These are things that rubbed him the wrong way. They're old money, and you can understand where that old money has a certain perception towards blue-collar workers like you. They really did not want me to wind up with a mechanic. Even if you own shops and you're wealthy, You're not the type of business owner that they rub elbows with. If they need to talk to a mechanic, they have someone talk to them for them. My dad rarely drives himself around. Doesn't do his own grocery shopping. It's very hard to explain, Brian. You're just not the type of person they wanted me with. And again, not in a toxic way. I think they would be polite to your face, and they would never curse you out or anything or call you a derogatory term or anything like that. But to me, they've expressed they don't want to meet you. So what can I do?
That sounds a little classist. Elitist. I hope you don't mind me saying that, but you don't find something wrong with that? That they don't want to meet your boyfriend? You're not offended by that?
This is my life, my relationship. You know the job that I have behind their back. I don't need them to meet you, if that makes sense.
Alright. I just know that when I go to Miranda's to babysit, to see my nephew and my niece, you felt bad that you got left out, right? And now you're going to go be with your family. Whether they want to meet me or not, I don't feel like I'm your partner. I feel like I'm just
What?
I mean, I guess I can't say anything because they're the ones that don't want to meet me. But typically when you don't want to introduce someone to your family, they're just an F-buddy. They're just someone you're hooking up with. And I don't think that's what we are, but that's how I feel. And especially after the fact that we just argued over that I didn't bring you to my niece.
But the difference is, Brian, Miranda doesn't have a problem with me. It's, again, not me that's saying it. I don't need them to meet. I don't need to convince them to like you. What do I care?
Yeah, you're right. Okay, so your family doesn't want to meet me, and I have to get. That's fine. At the end of the day, if you love me, then that's all that matters, right? That's all I should care about, is that you love me. So, all right. I'm glad we spoke about it. I won't meet your family. You have a good time with them today, and I will figure out what I'm doing.
Alright, so I wanted to just talk to you first because you are not part of the agreement. You have no reason to lie. You have a favor in every party. Like you're friendly with Miranda's mother, you're friendly with Miranda. You're not really on a side here, so I wanted to get your perspective from, we reviewed the footage, and it does seem like your other daughter Gina instigated the whole thing. Just give me a statement. What do you think about all this? Well, I think that tempers got out of control. I think that there was an initial tension between everybody because it was the first visit, so everyone was on eggshells. But I think Gina definitely didn't do anyone any favors, and she should have pulled herself back, and it was not the right time nor the place to upset Kristen. And I think that Kristen spoke out of turn, and I think she spoke out of anger, and you know what happens when people talk out of anger. They say a lot of things they don't mean and say things they shouldn't say. Alright, so do you think more things are going to happen like this? And how do we mitigate the Gina issue? Because she does seem like an accelerant to flames. I think that whether or not Gina says what she says and says how she says it, I think it's on her mother to not let it get to her, not get riled up. Okay, so you think that it falls on Kristen to not get affected by Gina, that Gina's not essentially the problem. Like you initially said and you opened with, I'm not looking to take sides. I think everybody needs to behave. Alright, I mean, the footage does speak for itself. I do not like. And also, the former mother-in-law of my daughter. Not fair to her for you to take for you to pause the agreement on her. She didn't do nothing. So if I could stick up for anyone right now, I'd stick up for her. That's not fair to her. She had no part of nothing, and she's been really great. Okay, we will we'll take that into consideration. I'm just gonna speak to I'll speak to Kristen and see how we're moving forward. It looks at this rate that we're just gonna give her a warning. Well, I don't think Miranda's gonna be happy with that. She won't even talk to me right now, so a slap on the wrist ain't gonna no one no favors. Right, but Miranda also screwed up in the beginning, so let's just call it an eye for an eye here. If I get a different feel from Kristen, then yeah. But right now, everyone's kind of tipsy turvy. So, tipsy turvy. What?